Under the Philippine sun, a new runway is rising, not just a construction project, but a symbol of the intensifying US-China rivalry. This American-backed runway sits at the heart of a geopolitical storm, signaling Washington's renewed commitment to its oldest Asian ally. For Beijing, it's a direct challenge to its ambitions in the region. The controversy isn't about concrete, it's about power and control over a vital maritime crossroads. The US frames the project as defensive, helping the Philippines protect its territory and fulfill treaty obligations. China sees it as an offensive move, part of a broader US strategy to contain its rise. For the Philippines, the runway is a calculated risk, caught between its security partner and a powerful neighbor. Manila's pivot back to Washington aims to deter aggression, but risks provoking Beijing. As construction continues, the stakes rise. This runway is a line in the sand, a test of alliances and a potential flashpoint. The world watches as this strip of land becomes a central arena for great power competition. The outcome could shape Southeast Asia's peace and stability for decades. The runway is more than infrastructure. It's a catalyst for shifting power dynamics. The Philippines hopes for deterrence, but the risk of escalation looms. This project's legacy will echo far beyond its concrete surface. The runway sits at Cesar Basa Air Base in Pampanga, Luzon, strategically positioned near Manila and facing the South China Sea. Its location allows rapid response to incidents in contested waters like Scarborough Shoal. For the Philippine Air Force, an upgraded runway means advanced jets can operate with full payloads, extending their reach. For the US, Basa is a forward staging point, bringing American air power closer to regional flashpoints. Luzon's geography ensures the base is well protected and easily supplied. Crucially, it's near the Bashi Channel, a choke point between the Philippines and Taiwan, vital for naval movement. Control here is a strategic prize, and the runway enhances monitoring and deterrence. The upgrade transforms Basa from a local facility into a launch pad for projecting power deep into the South China Sea. It shortens response times and increases surveillance, shifting the regional calculus. The US-Philippine alliance now sits at the center of China's maritime security concerns. This is not a minor upgrade, it's a fundamental shift in military capability. The base's location amplifies its strategic value for both allies. In this contest, geography is destiny. The Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA, is the legal backbone of the runway project. Signed in 2014, EDCA supplements the 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty, enabling deeper US-Philippine military cooperation. It allows US troops to rotate through Philippine bases and build facilities like runways and fuel depots. The US can preposition equipment at agreed locations, but the Philippines retains ownership. EDCA's purposes include training, disaster response, and modernizing the Philippine military. Critics called it unconstitutional, but the Philippine Supreme Court upheld its legality in 2016. The current government has expanded EDCA, adding more sites, including those facing Taiwan. The Basa runway is one of the original 5 EDCA sites, funded by the US as part of its commitment. EDCA lets Washington invest in Philippine military infrastructure without permanent bases. It's a tool for enhancing US presence in Southeast Asia while sidestepping political baggage. The agreement operationalizes the alliance, making projects like the Basa runway possible. EDCA is the framework for America's forward strategy in the region. It's not just legalese, it's the engine behind the new security architecture. Without EDCA, this runway wouldn't exist. China's reaction to the Basa runway has been swift and fierce. Beijing frames the project as US encirclement, not Philippine defense. Official statements urge restraint, but the message is clear. China sees the US presence as destabilizing. State media calls Manila's decision a stab in the back, warning of severe consequences for bilateral ties. Chinese strategists argue the runway is less about Philippine sovereignty and more about giving the US a launch pad near Taiwan. Basa's proximity to the Bashi Channel is seen as a direct threat to China's military freedom. For Beijing, this is a core national security issue, not just a regional dispute. The US-Philippine alliance, reinforced by the runway, blocks China's vision of regional primacy. China's objections go beyond infrastructure. They're about a fundamental challenge to its long-term ambitions. The runway is now a symbol of resistance to China's desired security order. The stakes are existential for Beijing. For the Philippines, the runway is about survival and sovereignty. Chinese vessels have harassed Filipino fishermen and blocked resupply missions in the South China Sea. Manila sees the upgraded airbase as essential to push back against this encroachment. A longer runway means more effective patrols and longer surveillance over disputed waters. "We cannot defend what we cannot see," says a defense official. The runway gives the Philippines better eyes in the sky. It's a step toward credible defense and asserting sovereign rights. The project reaffirms the U.S.-Philippine alliance, showing the mutual defense treaty is alive and practical. U.S. support brings funding, technology, and training the Philippines couldn't access alone. After failed diplomacy, Manila sees a stronger defense posture as essential. The runway is central to deterring aggression and ensuring the Philippines isn't left alone. It's a calculated move to raise the costs for any would-be aggressor. The Basa runway is a key piece of America's Indo-Pacific strategy. The U.S. aims to keep the region free and open, countering China's growing power. The strategy focuses on strong alliances, partner capacity, and a credible forward presence. The runway embodies integrated deterrence, combining U.S. and allied capabilities for a stronger defense. By funding the runway, the U.S. empowers the Philippines and complicates adversaries' calculations. It also disperses U.S. forces, reducing vulnerability to missile strikes on large bases. EDCA sites like Basa give the U.S. more options for rapid deployment. The project sends a clear political signal. America is committed to its allies and won't cede the region. The runway is both a military asset and a diplomatic message. It anchors the U.S. presence in Southeast Asia and strengthens the alliance network. The facility is a platform for regional security cooperation. It's a tangible sign of America's staying power. The Indo-Pacific strategy comes alive on this strip of concrete. The runway is where strategy meets reality. The significance of Basa Air Base extends beyond the U.S.-Philippine alliance. It's now a node in a growing Indo-Pacific security network. Japan, Australia, and South Korea are watching closely, sharing concerns about China's assertiveness. Japan, with its own disputes, sees a stronger Philippine Air Force as a boost for regional stability. Australia conducts joint patrols and values the operational reach EDCA sites provide. Experts call Philippine access a game changer, putting Allied power near China's doorstep. The runway could host joint exercises, transforming it into a multinational security hub. This evolving web of alliances complicates Beijing's calculations. The U.S. encourages this networked security, where allies cooperate directly. Basa Air Base is becoming a platform for collective deterrence in the Indo-Pacific. The new runway sends ripples across the South China Sea. Will it deter conflict or provoke escalation? Supporters say it raises the cost of Chinese aggression, giving the Philippines and U.S. a stronger hand. Deterrence, they argue, comes from strength and credible capability. The runway helps correct the power imbalance China has exploited with gray zone tactics. But critics warn it could escalate tensions, prompting China to boost its own military presence. This could trigger a security dilemma, each side's defense seen as offense by the other. The risk, a cycle of action and reaction, raising chances of miscalculation. An incident near Basa could spiral into wider conflict. China might retaliate economically or step up harassment at sea. The runway, meant to secure the Philippines, could become a flashpoint. The line between deterrence and provocation is razor thin. The region's stability hangs in the balance. As the Basa runway nears completion, it stands as a monument to shifting geopolitics. It embodies the clash of U.S. and Chinese grand strategies in the Indo-Pacific. The project has strengthened the U.S.-Philippine alliance but heightened tensions with Beijing. China sees it as a threat to its rise and core interests, especially regarding Taiwan. The region braces for a Chinese response, military, economic, or both. For Manila, it's a bold bet on the U.S. alliance. For Washington, a vital piece of deterrence. The runway is now a microcosm of the wider US-China competition. The question remains, will this strip of concrete anchor a stable peace or become a launchpad for conflict?